Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Tom Cole out of Oklahoma calls out Hakeem Jeffries and the entire Democrat Party for not only threatening a government shutdown, but for being ridiculous in the process. Let's dive in.
Democrats recognize that the cost of living in the United States of America is far too high. We have to fix our broken healthcare system, and we also have to clean up corruption in this town so that we don't have a government of the elites, by the elites, and for the elites. We deserve a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's why we oppose this reckless Republican spending bill. But we've heard all year how Republicans have a mandate, how Republicans have the presidency, how Republicans control the House, how Republicans control the Senate. Well, if that in fact is the case, as is the moment, temporarily, Republicans will own a government shutdown. Period. Full stop. It's the Republican shutdown. We're fighting for the health care of the American people. We will do that today. We will do that tomorrow. We will do that next week. We will do that next month. We will do that this year. We will do that next year. We will do that at all times. We're standing up for the health care of the American people. Cancel the cuts. Lower the costs. Save your health care.
The House will be in order. The gentleman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I won't take the 18 minutes that I have. I don't think I need it because the facts here are pretty clear. At the beginning of this process, I was asked to produce a clean bill for a limited period of time by my colleagues on the other side. That's what they asked to do, so that we could continue negotiations on a package of 3 bills, which are going well quite now and are happening. Then, all of a sudden, we have extraneous demands for things unrelated to the day-to-day operation of the government. This is a manufactured crisis. You got exactly what you asked for. You asked for a clean CR. You got a clean CR. You asked for a limited amount of time. You got a limited amount of time. You asked for negotiations on the remaining 3 bills. Those negotiations are underway, and that's what this committee should be focused on. And that's all we're doing today, Mr. Speaker, is buying the time that we all need to finish a process that we're all trying to restore and we think is broken. Now we have people dropping things out of the blue that were never intended to be a CR to try and create a sense of crisis and drama. If you think that moves us in the right direction, I disagree. I think that moves us in the wrong direction. I think keeping the government open for the American people and negotiating in good faith on bills where we are close to getting done and moving it through regular order is the right thing to do. I think provoking a government shutdown is the wrong thing to do. If you disagree, vote no. Take your privilege and shut down the government of the United States, something you have repeatedly condemned Republicans for when they did it, and rightly condemned them. But you're doing the same thing, and you know it. You absolutely know it. So, you want to shut down the government today? Fine. We'll give the United States Senate the same opportunity if we vote to keep it open. And if they want to shut it down, that's up to them. But we are at the table, ready to negotiate. We're negotiating on the 3 bills we agreed to negotiate on right now. That's the work of the Appropriations Committee, not this. And that's what the CR would deal with. So, my friends, when I give you what you asked for and you decide that's not acceptable and you change it afterwards and you drop unrelated items in, that's up to you. But let's not have any pretense about what's going on here. It's political theater. Political theater, that's all it is. But you're doing it at the risk of shutting down the government of the United States.
My, how interesting is it when things change? All of a sudden, Hakeem Jeffries starts caring about the cost of living. I wonder where this energy has been for the past 4 years. All of a sudden, he starts caring about corruption. I wonder where he's been for the past 4 or 5 years. Folks, this is nothing new. This is by definition hypocritical, but it's also nothing new. Republicans will do this when Democrats are in office. Democrats will do this when Republicans are in office. The difference is no one believes in their right mind that Democrats will lower the costs on anything. Okay? We know that that's not going to happen. They love their handouts. Their whole mantra, their whole ideology is based on the ideas set forth by Woodrow Wilson. Okay? Democrats used to be in a different camp before Woodrow Wilson, but the moment they got a taste of progressivism, the moment they got a taste of what happens when a bureaucracy takes over for the Congress, things started to change drastically in American politics. And finally, they were able to start putting forth their ideology through the FDR administration, and we got a lot of these social programs, most of which didn't exactly work. Hey, y'all. According to new reports, central banks around the world may be buying twice as much gold as official reports suggest. Yeah, you heard that right. Twice as much. And get this, they're bypassing traditional markets and buying directly from miners in Asia, Africa, and in Latin America. That means no US dollars, just physical gold. This shift isn't just symbolic, it could be strategic. They could be looking to bypass traditional Western markets. So if central banks are scrambling to reduce their dollar exposure and own more physical gold, should you do the same? That's where the award-winning precious metals company Goldco comes in. Right now, you could get a free 2025 gold and silver kit and learn more how gold and silver can protect your savings. Just go to politabrawlgold.com. Plus, you could get up to 10% back in bonus silver just for starting up. Go to politabrawlgold.com. That's politabrawlgold.com. Nothing really changed the Great Depression. As a matter of fact, some of the reforms, so to speak, of FDR got worse. When you raise spending during a depression, you aren't actually helping anything. You are making something, you are making any economic growth fake. And that fakeness is just going to require more and more pumping up into it. And then eventually the bubble's going to burst at an even bigger rate. That's just the reality. The opposite is true. When you're in tough times, you cut spending. When you're in good times, you increase spending. Okay? That's what you're supposed to do. But what we've seen time and time again to fly in the face of this, what should be obvious reality, is the Democrats, in three major spurts, once from 1912 to 1920, then FDR's administration, and then again during LBJ. In each of these spurts, they kept on pumping out these social programs that turned out they didn't work. Compare that to the Republican progressivism, which was a whole lot different. Their progressivism, and yes, I will tie all of this in just a moment. I know I'm going off on a history trend here. But the Republican progressivism was simply reforms of ensuring that monopolies weren't being too awful, ensuring that train fare was indeed fair, that the railroad companies weren't going overboard. That was essentially it, just making sure that no one's getting taken advantage of. That was the square deal, not the New Deal. That's the difference between progressive Republicans and progressive Democrats, and there pretty much aren't any non-progressive Democrats anymore. Though that strain is gone from the party. And so Hakeem Jeffries is once again talking about being that wonderful progressive, talking about the proper reforms in healthcare. Oh yeah, there's one I conveniently left out. The Obamacare changes. The ACA did nothing to really make healthcare that much better for Americans. It gave us a couple of nice things on one hand, but it shackled us on the other. It was literally a tit for tat, and the only people who benefited were, you guessed it, the insurance companies. Hakeem Jeffries is ahead of a party that doesn't understand what it's doing, so now they're trying some extra tricks. They know that the spotlight is back on them after Jimmy Kimmel gets suspended. And now Stephen Colbert, even though he's on the way out, has doubled down on this ideology as well, of saying that we're not leaving, we're not changing our ideology, which, by the way, that's actually a smart tactic for them, because if the companies fold, that means that Colbert and Kimmel stay on the air. If they say, you know what, we're going to take our ball away and go home, That means Kimmel and Colbert are likely going to have their own audiences, likely here on YouTube. And thus the algorithm will continue. So I don't blame them for doing the things that they're doing in terms of, saving their own skin and trying to keep themselves in the game as long as they can. Meanwhile, Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats are trying their best to run as much as they can against the Republicans, and once again try to blame them for a shutdown. What they've failed to understand, however, is that guys like Tom Cole bring the receipts. Remember, folks, you can always trust this to be true. Democrats talk about feelings, Republicans talk about logistics. That is the fundamental difference. Tom Cole is talking about how these resolutions actually work. He has talked about what they've done in their own negotiations and how the Democrats have reneged on those negotiations. Okay? That is a problem when the Republicans have the receipts and the Democrats are left holding the bag. This has happened time and time again with government shutdowns because Americans don't like the government. Even Democrats don't particularly like the government that much. Granted, they're in the minority in their own party, but if a government shutdown occurs, they're going to blame the Democrats no matter which way you slice it, and they still haven't figured this out. They didn't figure this out under Obama. They didn't figure this out under the first Trump administration. They tried this nonsense again under Biden, and now here we are, 4 different presidencies later. Okay, technically 3. And we're seeing the same playbook, and the Democrats haven't learned. This is almost adorable at this point. They legitimately think that this is the best way they can fight back against the Trump administration when all it does is continually push them farther away from the American people. It's almost comedy at this point. But eventually comedy will turn to tragedy for the Democrat Party. And I guess when comedy becomes tragedy, you start writing in iambic pentameter with a red nose. But seriously, Tom Cole brought the receipts, and the Democrats still don't understand what they're doing. But folks, let me know what you think's going on down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.